Acheron in Tensura by Apandora 2. Acheron. Oops, Veldanava muttered, his voice tinged with panic as he realized he had given her more magicules than intended. What's going on, brother? Velzard asked, her composed exterior barely concealing her concern. Ah, Velzard, Veldanava stammered nervously. I accidentally gave this woman a bit more magicules than I intended. Ha ha ha. Velzard's eyes narrowed, her smile not reaching her eyes. Brother, how much more exactly did you give her? Veldanava turned his head away, embarrassed. 15 times more. Velzard's expression turned incredulous. 15 times? The voice of the world began to speak, breaking the tension. Confirming individual Acheron evolving from Oni, creating a new species. Confirming Oni evolving into Emanator. Confirming evolution of skill nihilist. Evolution successful. Individual Acheron granted ultimate skill, Queen of Nothingness Nirvana. Confirming individual Acheron granted ultimate skill, Queen of Space Varuna. Confirming, reconstructing body to semi-digital life form. Confirming union of two ultimate skills, new ultimate skill, Goddess of Nihility Ix. Veldanava felt a chill run down his spine. Acheron was supposed to become either a true hero or a true demon lord, but now she was carving out her own path. Velzard watched as Acheron remained surrounded by a hurricane of magicules. The magicules stopped swirling aggressively around Acheron, revealing her transformation. Gone was the black-haired woman with red horns and a normal height. In her place stood a tall woman with pale skin, long dark purple hair that reached her thighs with a fringe covering her left eye, and bright violet eyes with pink highlights and diamond-shaped pupils. Acheron slowly stood up and bowed before Veldanava. Her voice, cold yet enchanting, resonated through the room. Thank you for giving me a name, Veldanava Sama. Veldanava waved his hands frantically. Ha ha ha, you don't need to bow at all. It's fine, I just did the right thing. Acheron turned her gaze to Velzard, her eyes radiating a power that seemed both overwhelming and empty. The intensity of her stare sent chills down Velzard's spine. What has my brother created in this world? Velzard wondered. Acheron took her long katana in hand, feeling its enhanced strength. Veldanava Sama. An angel burst into the room in a panic, sword in hand and ready to protect his god. Ah, Feldway, you can put that weapon away. Let me introduce you to Acheron. Veldanava pointed to Acheron, who was still looking at him. Sasuga Veldanava Sama. Veldanava was taken aback, wondering what Feldway was thinking now. It looks like our little angel sounded the alarm for nothing, Velzard commented with a sly smile. OJ Velzard, don't deliberately provoke Feldway, Veldanava thought as veins began to pop on Feldway's head. Some lizard imitation won't tell me what to do or who I am. The only one who can do that is Veldanava Sama. An icy aura began to form around Velzard, freezing everything around her. They began fighting each other. Again. Veldanava muttered, exasperated. He looked at Acheron, who was watching the scene unfold, not knowing what to do, her eyes filled with questions. Boom! As an explosion hit Veldanava's face, he lost all his patience. Enough. Veldanava opened his wings, creating a strong wind that blew Feldway and Velzard apart. The fight stopped, something that happened at least once a week. The only people in his palace were Feldway, Dino, and Velzard. Velgrand was with Rudra on his heroic escapades. Veldanava turned his gaze to Acheron, not knowing what to do, so he asked normally, "What are you going to do now?" "I don't know." Acheron looked at the ground, completely lost. "You can stay here if you want," Veldanava offered. He knew Acheron had lost everything. The only thing he could do was be her new family. "If you allow it." Acheron bowed. "Thank you for your kindness. I like this one, at least she has a hint of respect, unlike this lizard," Feldway commented, looking at Velzard. "Velzard, would you be so kind as to show Acheron to a room?" "I don't care which, let her choose," Veldanava asked Velzard, who sighed and looked at Acheron. Come with me, Velzard instructed. Acheron nodded and followed her. "You see this corridor, you can choose any room you want," Velzard said. Acheron nodded and entered the first room she came across, not emerging afterward. Velzard knocked on the door, but there was no response. She entered the room and saw Acheron meditating with her sword in her lap, inhaling and exhaling magicules. Velzard decided not to disturb her and left the room. Velzard returned to her brother, already finding the palace boring and contemplating when and where to have the most fun next. "Brother, it looks like Acheron started meditating, so I left her be." Veldanava nodded. Meanwhile, in Acheron's mind, two people were fighting each other. She had died 10 times against a mental clone of Velzard. Watching Velzard fight, she created a copy in her mind and was completely destroyed. Fight after fight, Acheron still couldn't win. She died again, but this time the Velzard clone had a large horizontal wound from a sword. Acheron opened her eyes, finding herself in the same unchanged room. Standing up, she noticed her kimono was too small for her. She had nothing to change into. She didn't even know how long she had been fighting, but she had a sense of time. She had won against the Velzard clone, but knew well that Velzard hadn't fought with full strength against Feldway and hadn't used all her abilities. Acheron took her long katana in hand and left her room, heading towards where she felt Veldanava was. Upon arriving, she saw a majestic dragon. "Ah, Acheron, good morning," Veldanava greeted. Acheron nodded. "HN. How long have I been meditating?" Veldanava thought for a moment. About 1,000 years. "So I fought against Velzard for over 1,000 years and managed to win only against a weaker version of her," Acheron thought, looking around for Velzard, who was nowhere to be seen. "If you're looking for Velzard, she's not here anymore, she went her own way." "Do you have some clothes? This is a bit small for me," Acheron asked. Veldanava nodded. I'll call someone to help you with that. Lucia." Lucia Nazca entered the room, smiling. "Yes, Veldanava, what would you like? Could you please help Acheron here change? Her clothes are too small." Lucia's smile didn't reach her eyes as she looked at Veldanava. I hope Veldanava didn't have any weird ideas about Acheron." Veldanava saluted. "No ma'am." Lucia took Acheron's hand and led her to a room. If you don't want to read a long description, it is classic Acheron's outfit. After some time, Acheron emerged from the room in a new outfit. Her design featured Japanese motifs, consisting of a black, strappy top with a high neckline and intricate cutouts forming a V-shape on her chest, attached to a high neckline that served as a choker. She wore a white and purple jacket with long sleeves reminiscent of a kimono, along with an asymmetrical, long, flowing cape attached at her shoulders and draping down her back. She also wore high-waisted, black and purple shorts that were snug and form-fitting, as well as black boots and gloves. Her boot on the left reached her thigh, while the one on the right reached below her knee. Much of her outfit was decorated with purple flames. A silver belt with a detailed buckle wrapped around her waist, adding a utilitarian touch. Various accessories that were chitinous in nature, including a purple shoulder guard, belt, and strap along her spine, as well as a chain around her left wrist, completed her look. End of chapter.